Saturday, Terry. You know what that means, right?
Yeah, it means that we've got a good-looking day here.
Big money, big races, baby. That's
right.
what we're all about around here. But if you're interested in doing some, well, maybe they turns into big money, but they're not as big races. On Thursday, we got together with Jockey's agent, Paula Bacon, and we put together a late pick four between all of us over at the Player's Edge podcast. You can find that here on Horse Racing Radar TV. Also, I put the recap and all of our notes together on horseracingtoday.net. And at the bottom, along with the commentary, I also included a nice little image of everybody's picks. So if you're going to play Tampa Bay, make sure you head over to horseracingtoday.net. Check out everybody's pick four and make sure you watch the video there with Paula Bacon. It was a good time.
Yeah, I think if you hit that one, you're going to win pretty good because it's pretty wide open.
Yeah, I think you're pretty right about that, Terry. So today we got a host. We have a quartet of stakes races we're going to cover. First off, we're going to get cracking with Aqueduct, Terry, race number 9. That is the Cicada Stakes. It is 6 furlongs on the main track, Terry, for $100,000. When you look at this setup, Terry, at Aqueduct, there have been 6 races, 6 races, right? 6 furlong races. There have been 156 of them.
Yeah.
I can see things don't change, whether it's Monday through Saturday. I still get confused. It's a product that I can't read my own handwriting, but 108 of those 156 races were won by speed, with 55 going to wire. There is a slight inside to outside bias, Terry. And as we like to do on Saturdays, we have a little bit more time to discuss each race. We put together some nice graphics to take a look at. This is how I break down the race in terms of the race shape. So of the six horse field, it looks like 4 of them plan to get out in a hurry. So those are your early pace horses that have won the majority of their races, if not all of them, being on the lead. And then you have the pressers, the 1 and the 3. Looking at the early pace in terms of the numbers, it looks like number 5, MONSHUN, and number 6, Lady Scarlet. Those 2 are likely to be the ones on the lead at the quarter-mile marker. And then on the way home, Sweet SOLARE. It's a little bit of a late pace advantage over MONSHUN. The rest of them are all kind of bunched up after that, Terry. And then our last look before we walk through the field is what their speed numbers look like. So you can see the 5 horse really's only had 1 race, but the top of that line is the peak speed number relative to the rest of this field. And then the bottom is the bottom line. That red dot is the average. So if the 5 horse runs the same race it ran last time out, it's run better than most of these have run overall.
Yep, that's what it looks like to me. I really like this graph. It gives a good view of how the horses have done over its career so far, or at least in the last few races.
Last 10 races, if they've raced that many, for sure. So let's take a look at the field, Terry. Let's start with the first horse in this field. That is Rosebug, 3-year-old from American Pharoah, baby. The thing is, the American Pharoah horses tend to run a little bit better on grass than they do on dirt, although this one has run at Aqueduct and won on the dirt, but it was an off-track. And an off-track a lot of times is a pretty good signal for what a turf horse might do. Hasn't done anything yet on a fast track.
Yeah, it's true. And, this race is really competitive and wide open as far as I'm concerned. The number 1, Rosebug, dropping back from a distance race to a sprint, and that could help this horse. Anyway, that's how I see it running. It's of course it's got a really good jockey, Jose Lescano, and it's trained by William Mott. So
yeah, and I look at the horse. One of the things I see is favorable. The horse did have a nice 4 furlong improvement last time in its pace number. That's the turn on the 6 furlong race. That's a number you really want to pay attention to. It's coming out of the barn, though. It's the first race that the horse has had in a little bit. And if you look at its debut, it ran 4th by 3 lengths. And then the last time it had some time off, it ran 6th by 9.5 lengths. So it looks to me like this is one of those horses that needs one before it gets the job done. Number 2, Sweet SOLARE, ridden by the friend of the show, Trevor McCarthy. Horse is making its 3rd start after breaking its maiden last time out in its 2nd try in a wire-to-wire effort on the slop at Aqueduct. Can it make it 2 wins in a row?
Well, it might just do that. It's she's had trouble in both of her races, being bumped at the start a bit slow and then bumped again at the 7/16, came into the stretch a little bit wide. But I think she can. I think she can repeat. She's won her last race at Aqueduct, like you said. And the trainer wins 19% of the races when it brings a horse back after the horse has broken its maiden. This trainer in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 3 starts.
Yeah, pretty good for Horacio de Paz. Number 3 is EXXALTRESS, ridden by Manny Franco, trained by Chad Brown. There's a pretty good combination for you. Much like the 3 horse, this one got its maiden win last time out in its second try. Did improve off the first one. Has squared up against the 1 horse Rosebug already. Finished a distant 5th by 16 in that matchup. Has a little bit of time off since then, coming back with some okay workouts, Terry. But Chad Brown is Chad Brown. It's kind of hard to ignore a Chad Brown horse in New York or anywhere, if that matter.
Yeah, that's correct. And, Manny Franco comes back and rides his horse again after winning on it pretty darn easily last time at Aqueduct. And then the trainer, as we're talking about, Cox, he wins 31% of the races when he brings a horse back that's broke its maiden. And Manny has been really doing well in the last 7 days. He's been in the money 7 out of 12 times, winning 3 of those. And this horse has a really good workout on March 11th.
And I do like Manny Franco when he's on a speed horse. When we talked to Danny Gargan and Randy, I forget his last name, from when a year or so ago before the Pegasus, they mentioned that they like Manny on a speed horse, and Manny had done well on a speed horse. Number 4, Lady Milagro. So Lady Milagro meaning miracle. I guess they're talking about the Virgin Mary there. This is a horse that has won its last time out, optional, claiming 50,000, with a just blasted a field of 9, winning by 7 1/4 lengths with Eric Cancel. Eric is back in the horse, 6 furlongs, just like today. Huge improvement in that 4 furlong number, and nice improvement in the late pace number. Been my experience, when horses improve in the second half of a race, that usually carries over to the next race.
That's true. And this horse was pretty competitive. Won the last race at Aqueduct. She has the highest last race speed rating, and she has the best start speed among today's starters. And, she shows that with her workout on March 11th, 35 and change, breezing, 3rd best out of 46.
Yeah, it hasn't run off the board at Aqueduct yet in 4 races, but with a win, a 2nd and 2/3. Number 5 is MONSHUN. It broke its debut way back in August at Saratoga. Been sidelined since. Workouts coming into this some of them are pretty brisk. Some of them look more like their maintenance workouts. Although when it ran back at Saratoga, it was had pretty well bet in its debut, about 3-1.
Yeah, this horse also likes to run on top, won that race pretty darn easily. And, Saratoga to me is a pretty tough place to win. So I give them a little bit more edge when they come from Saratoga. Anyway, she was well bet in debut, and the trainer jockey in the last 14 days combination has won 2 out of 4, and she has that good workout on March 11th.
Yeah, that Dylan Davis and Raymond Handel. And when we were on the show last week with Dennis Harrington, David Harrison, the champion handicapper, he had mentioned that Raymond Handel, the trainer, is starting to finally heat up a little bit. So keep an eye on that combination. Number 6, Lady SCARLET, final horse in the field, ships in from Oaklawn Park. Michael Maker wins at about 17% with shippers, which is in line with his 18% overall win rate. Teaming up with Kendrick Carmouche. I love Kendrick on fast horses. This is the first time Kendrick has ridden this horse, obviously, coming up from Oaklawn Park. What do you think its chances are to take its game from Hot Springs to New York?
Well, this horse looks pretty darn good. Kendrick, like you said, won on it last time. And Kendrick Carmouche is really on fire right now. He's won 5 out of the last 8 races in the last 7 days. And so Lady SCARLET is somebody to keep your eye on.
Absolutely. All right, Terry. Well, now it's that time, my friend. We've gone through what the pace might look like. We've gone through what the race shape might look like. We've gone through all the horses and their history looks like for speed numbers. Now we have to figure out how we're going to, we looked at history. Now we have to predict the future. So what are your picks?
Well, I like number 2, Sweet Solare is my first pick. And then I like number 5, MONSHUN is my second pick. I like number 4, Lady MILAGRO as my third pick. And then I like number 3, EXXALTRESS as my fourth pick.
I'm going to go with number 2 as my top choice as well, Sweet SOLARE. My second choice is Rosebug, the number 1, followed by number 4, which is Lady MILAGRO, and then number 3, EXXALTRESS. So I'm going to go 2, 1, 4, 3, those inside 4 horses, because there was a little bit of an inside bias there.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to Ship Down. We're going to go the opposite way from that last horse. Instead of from Oaklawn to Aqueduct, we're going to go from Aqueduct to Oaklawn, Terry. And the first race there is that we're going to cover is race number 7. This is the Grade 3 Whitmore Stakes. It's $200,000, Terry. It is like the Cicada Stakes, 6 furlongs. There have been 200. What is with me in sixes this morning? 214 races during the current meet at Oaklawn for 6 furlongs. 143 of them won by horses that were first, second, or third at the quarter-mile marker. Actually, 64 of them went wire to wire. And much like when we talked to Vic Stauffer when he on the Players Edge podcast, he mentioned that Oaklawn plays fair. And when you look at the post positions, Terry, quite frankly, they all play pretty fair.
It looks good.
And it does look good. So in terms of this race shape setup, Terry, there's not really a true front runner in this one. I mean, there are horses that can get to the lead, the 1, the 3, the 6, and the 8. Those are horses that have won from the lead, one from pressing, and also sometimes can come from a little bit farther back than mid-pack. So I would expect the 1, the 3, the 6, or the 8, one of those to actually get up onto the lead. The 9 horse is a chaser. He doesn't tend to get to the lead, but, hugs the leaders. The 2 and the 4, those horses are presser chasers. They don't get the lead, but they can close. But they have one from close to the lead and have one from behind. And then finally, the 5 and the 7, those horses only have one so far, at least recently, coming from the back of the pack. Looking at the pace setup for this race, Terry, coming out of the gates, it looks to me like the 8, Heart Rhythm, and the 9, HOLLIS, are likely to be the 2 fastest out of the gate, followed closely by GREELEY and Ben and Royal DAAHER. On the way home, knee deep in snow, and I'm glad that's not going to be the case around here anymore. That one has a little bit of an advantage over No Shirt, No Shoes. You can add that No Mask right to that one.
Yep.
And then number 2, Bob's Edge. Those 3 should be coming home the quickest. This one should make for an interesting race at Oaklawn Park. Our stock chart looks like this, Terry. As you can see, the 3 horse is the one that has the highest range, highest average. It looks like a little bit of a standout, and otherwise, what is a competitive race for horses 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Yep. Well, let me tell you, I love Whitmore, and so I'm so happy that they named a race after him. So,
yeah, well, I think he's actually going to be at the track today, I read, so that's a positive too.
Good.
First horse is No Shirt, No Shoes on the rail, making its second start off the bench with jockey Martin Garcia, trainer Doug Anderson. Horse on the history does tend to improve a little bit in the second start off a layoff. Since its last race, it had a really good workout on March 11th, 4th fastest out of 114. What do you see with No Shirt, No Shoes?
Well, this horse ran and won 2 races in a row last October, and then took a break. And then the first race back, he ran second, which he probably needed that race, the 6 furlongs. And it's a distance he does really well at. So I like that about him. But also he has a really good workout on March 11th. And he likes this track. He's won 2 out of 8 races, been in the money 4 times. So
another one that's worked out really well is number 2, Bob's Edge. Nice bullet workout. Likes the track. Been there 5 times, 2 wins and 3/3. Likes the distance, in the money 100% of the time. Making its first start since January the 29th. Looking back at some previous first starts, the horse has struggled a little bit. So maybe this is another one that needs one before it hits its stride, Terry.
Yeah, this horse won its last race at Oaklawn, and as doing that, got the highest last speed rating. And as you said, he has a really good bullet workout on March 14th. So, yeah.
Number 3, Greeley and Ben should be one of those horses that could sit right off the pace. This horse loves this distance, Terry. 6 furlongs, been there 18 times, won 13 of them. Run at a different distance 12 times. He managed to win half of those too. So basically, Greeley and Ben likes to win.
Yeah, he sure does. He's won 9 out of the last 10 races, and I don't think this will be any different. He has the highest speed rating at today's distance, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. And the jockey trainer combination the last 14 days have won 3 out of 7 races. So.
Number 4 is Knee Deep in Snow. Ramon Vasquez, a fan of the show as well, and one who's come on to the show. Riding for Michael Maker. Last time out, this horse at Sam Houston in a $75,000 race was the favorite. Showed some really nice 4 furlong improvement, but failed as that favorite. And Michael Maker comes back to win at about 21% the next time around the track with a horse that lost as the People's Choice.
Yeah, and I think that, let's see, he won a race at Oaklawn in January. He tried Houston, but he ran 4th, disappointing as a favorite. So I think this race, he may be a little bit over his head.
Could be. Though I hope Ramon does well. He was a nice guy when we talked to him on the Players Edge podcast. Number 5 is ATOKA. This is a horse that is probably one that might need a rest, Terry. Yeah. So a little bit of regression across the board in its last race, although it did finish second at allowance $101,000 at Oaklawn Park. This horse has run 7 times with a win, a second, and 2/3, Terry.
Yeah, this horse is trained by the coach, Dwayne Lucas. He won races back in September, and he's a closer, but he doesn't always get there. So he may have a little problem in this race.
Yeah, Oaklawn, especially on these stakes days, but they're not the biggest of stakes racing days. But a lot of times at Oaklawn, when they do have big stakes races, the track, as we were told by Matt Carruthers, a lot of times for these tracks, they go ahead and they soup them up for the big days, makes them even faster. So I think you're right. Coming from behind might be a task. Number 6, Royal DAAHER won its last race with a triple-digit speed figure, Terry, making its second start off a layoff. And ordinarily, this horse, the second time after spending some time on the sidelines, runs a race very similar to the one it ran coming out of the barn. If it runs the same race, probably does the same result.
Yeah, that could be. This horse won the last race at Oaklawn, but moves up in class from that last start. I'm not sure if the win is in the cards for it at this contest. So,
number 7 is Tulane Tryst. Second start off a layoff coming in from Fairgrounds. First trip across the Oaklawn Park track. Has been training at Fairgrounds, so would like to see a workout at Oaklawn to see if the horse takes to the track. It's tough to tell. Terry, what do you think?
Yeah, this horse has won 2 races in a row and comes to Oaklawn to try and win one more here. He loves the distance, and even though he's going up in class, I think he can be successful.
Now, well, you mentioned those last 2 races. We won by a combined 10 furlongs, so they weren't even close.
No.
Heart Rhythm. This is a horse that's making its 3rd start off the break, third race, career race at Oaklawn Park. Last time out, you saw the horse improve sharply. They only ran, it's run 2 other 3-race cycles, and looking at them, it looks like they're almost as good. One time the horse improved in the 3rd race. The other time it stepped up from the second one, but wasn't as good as the first. The horse continues to trend up that chart. Could run better than 15-1.
Yeah, it's true. I think this horse has got a really good chance. This horse is very competitive. Won the last race at Oaklawn and likes Oaklawn. He's finished in the money 80% of the time here. And then he's won 60% of those races. And at the distance, he's been in the money 100% of the time and won 50% of those races. He has a bullet workout on March 10th of 47.4 breezing. He was the best out of 66.
Yeah, I also like that on the last race, he improved his 6 furlong time by a second, a little bit more than a second. So definitely a horse that's trending in the right direction. HOLLIS is the 9 horse, making its 3rd start last time off the break. Last time out, smoked the field by 4 1/4. Some black type behind it, though it did face up against Bob's Edge 2 races back at a similar level than what you see here today. And that race wasn't close because Bob Edge demolished HOLLIS. What do you think is going to happen today?
Well, I'll tell you what, I had a hard time deciding between Bob's Edge and HOLLIS as my 4th pick, and I went with Bob's Edge. But let me say about HOLLIS, he's won 3 out of 5 races at Oaklawn. He has a really sharp workout. He's very consistent, and he could be in the mix here.
He could go all the way. All right, Terry. So time to make your picks. What are you going to do?
Okay, I like number 3, GREELEY and Ben as my first pick. Nice. And then I like number 7, TULANE TRYST as my 2nd pick. I like that long shot, number 8, Heart Rhythm is my 3rd pick. And I like Bob Edge as my 4th pick.
Bob's Edge is the
number 2.
Number 2. So I'm going to start off with HOLLIS as my top choice, followed by number 3, which is GREELEY and Ben. And then I'm going to go back to that long shot 2 as well, Terry. Heart Rhythm as my 3rd selection, and close it out with number 2, Bob's Edge. So I'm going to go 9, 3, 8, and 2. Terry's going 3, 7, 8, and 2. And now we're going to skip ahead to race number 9 at Oaklawn Park, which is the Essex Handicap. This one is 1 mile and 1/16 miles on the main track. They've run 98 races so far. 56 of them won by horses that tend to get to the front. So 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, the quarter pole, but not that many. Only 14 of the 56 went wire to wire. So it really looks to me like you want to be the co-pilot or assistant pilot, not necessarily the pilot. And once again, we find that the rail plays fair. So it doesn't matter really where you get started. Again, looking at the potential race shape for the Essex Handicap, it doesn't look to me like there's a whole lot of speed in this spot, Terry. You have the 1 and the 3 as your early pace types under pressure. The 4 and the 5 can be close to the lead, although they usually don't take the lead. And then 2, 6, 7, and 8 are going to close. So this is a spot, Terry, where maybe if you can get to the front of the line out of the gates, you have a chance to take them from wire to wire, although, as I mentioned, not that many have done it yet. Taking a look real quick at the pace setup, looks like number 1, Thomas Shelby, and Warrior's Charge and Plainsman. Those 3 all have very similar early pace numbers. On the way back home, Rated R Superstar has an edge over Beau Luminaire and Thomas Shelby and Plainsman. And then if, again, we take a look at our stock chart to get a sense of what these horses have done, this looks to me, Terry, like an extremely competitive race.
It is, yes.
They have not a lot of variance between their average, which is the red dot, and all of them seem to have a similar peak and a similar bottom. So it'll be interesting to see which horse can bring out its best today. And I think that the race shape is probably going to have a big impact on how this one plays out because of the lack of early speed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, let me start out by saying the number 2, Title Ready, has been scratched. So.
All right, good. So I didn't have him anyway, Terry.
Yeah, me neither. So anyway.
So number 1, Thomas Shelby, making its, 6th start without a rest. Yeah. Last time out, showed some significant late pace improvement, missing by a neck. He's squared up against a lot of these. When you look at the right-hand side in the top finishers, there's some black type that he's in front of and some black type he's in back of. Not surprising considering that stock chart and how competitive all this looked.
Yeah, this horse has finished 10 in the money 10 out of 10 races, and he's won 5 of those, so he's really doing well. He has high percentage winning trainer, Robertino Di Aurora, and he's got a trainer-jockey combination who in the last 14 days have been in the money 8 out of 12 time, winning 5 of those.
Loves the distance. 5 times across the racetrack, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a David Cohen in the mount. Number 3, because number 2 is scratched, Warrior's Charge won his last by 9 3/4. That was on January 28th at Oaklawn Park. Since then, he's got himself a couple of workouts. So the horse should still be fit and firm. Want to talk about one that loves the distance, Terry? 7 races, 6 wins, and a second. That's loving a distance.
That's right. So this horse, yeah, he won really easily at Oaklawn last time and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Has the highest last race speed rating. He has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and he has the best dirt speed today among today's starters. So he marks a lot of the boxes off.
Checks a lot of them. Loves that distance too. And you got Brad Cox Florent Garou, that's a heck of a combination. Number 4 is Plainsman, ridden by Joel Rosario, who is, didn't he just win like the Jockey of the Year, right?
I think he did, yeah.
Teamed up with Brad Cox. They don't really get together that often, only 6 times in the last in the last 60 days, so that's not that much. I'm sure Joel's about to hop on a plane and head out to Dubai for the Dubai World Cup, and that's what we'll be covering on Thursday night, Terry. Not quite sure who our guest is going to be, but our Players Edge podcast coming up will be about the Dubai World Cup on Thursday night. So make sure, if you're interested in knowing about who we think is going to win those races, subscribe while you're here on YouTube, and then tell your friends about it, of course. And then you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Horse Race Today. That's the number 2 day. And our Swiss Army Sean will make sure you're up to speed on everything that we're doing. So make sure you do that while you're here. All right, Terry, what do you think about Plainsman?
Well, I'll tell you, this horse is pretty classy. He's been running a lot of graded races and has not embarrassed himself at all. You know, he really loves to be there in the mix. And he won his last race at Oaklawn easily. He has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey, and he has a really good workout on March 11th, 6 out of 27.
Number 5 is Popular Kid. Terry, this was you in high school, unquestionably, because you were always the one with the money. So when you have the money, you have friends, Terry. Francisco Arrieta teaming up with Sean Davis. The horse has run at Oaklawn Park 5 times, 2 wins, a second and a third. Second start off a layoff. Looking at the horse's recent history, second starts tend to regress a little bit from the first one. That last one would be on par with some of these in here, but any regression might make it difficult for Popular Kid to get into the money.
Yeah, this horse has actually finished 3rd in his last race, and it's its first race after winning 2 in a row that he came back from after taking time off. He likes the track and he likes the distance, so he probably needed that last race.
Rated R Superstar, Charles Baja. So, Charles, who is the Rated R Superstar? See if you know who the answer to that question is. I can't remember his name. Oh, I remember his name. He's a WWE wrestler. Anyway, the Rated R Superstar is making his 3rd start off a layoff. And as Charles says, the horse does have a pretty good history at Oaklawn Park. He'll be one of those horses that's likely to be coming from the back of the pack. I don't know that he's going to get the kind of pace necessarily to catch him up, because when I did the pace scenario, it looks to me like the horses up front have the edge, though. Love David Cabrera. That guy's been on our show a couple of times, and you want to talk about a guy with a positive attitude. You can hear him smiling through the phone, Terry. Absolutely. What do you think about David's chances with Rated R?
Well, this horse has finished in the money 10 out of 20 starts at Oaklawn Park, winning 4 of those. And a matter of fact, he's finished in the money 6 out of the last 7 races. He likes the distance, so you might want to take a shot. Maybe use him in a superfecta.
Number 7 is, oh, by the way, the answer to my question: who is the Rated R Superstar from WWE?
Yeah,
The Edge. He looks a little old now, man. Back then he was buff and looked young, and now he looks a little bit like he's been in the sun. Beau Luminaire is Ricardo Santana Jr., who always runs well down in Oaklawn Park, with Rodolphe Brissette as the trainer. Run once at Oaklawn, had a 3rd, been on the sidelines in the barn, having some rest and relaxation since December 18th of 2021. It's got some good workouts, though, getting ready, Terry. At least that last one was pretty fast.
It was, yeah. This horse has won 2 races in a row in Kentucky, went up in class and ran in a $200,000 race. He didn't embarrass himself. He finished 3rd, only losing a length and a quarter. And the trainer in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 4 races, been in the money 3 times. It has that really good workout, 48 and change breezing. It was actually the 7th best of 114 workouts.
All right, and the final horse in this spot, Terry, is number 8. HANALEI'S Houdini. This horse likes to come from behind, shipping in from the East Coast, where it's ran at Laurel last time out. So I would consider this Laurel to Oaklawn to be a track upgrade. Horse does have some pretty nice early pace, did show some really nice numbers in the turn last time out at the 4 furlong number, and increased its late pace figures. Coming off the bench, the horse has a history of running okay. Hasn't won lately after some time in the barn, so I'm not sure it'll get it done here either.
No, this horse loves being a bridesmaid, finishing second in the last 3 races in a row, and the works are just average. So it's not. I don't think he's going to be in the mix here.
All right, perfect. So that gets us to the time where we make our picks. Terry, who do you like in the Essex Handicap?
Well, I like the number 1, Thomas Shelby is my first pick. I think he's going to get out there and they're going to have to catch him. So, and then I like number 7, BEAU Luminaire as my second pick. I like number 3, Warriors Charge as my third pick, and I like the Plainsman number 4 as my fourth pick.
Well, I am going to start, Terry, with number 4, the Plainsman, as my top selection, followed by number 3, which is Warriors Charge. Then I'm going to head to the rail with your pick, Thomas Shelby, and then I'm going to close it out with the Edge, the Rated R Superstar. I didn't, Charles, I'm really not a fan of the WWE. I mean, I like the WWE. I think it's good in the sense, like if you're doing anything in the form of entertainment to watch, to kind of get a sense of how to build narratives and stories and all that kind of stuff, and maybe even use some of their lines, those that don't go over the line. So in any case, Terry, this upcoming week, you watch the Horse Center every night, right? Or
yes,
Monday
I do.
Through Wednesday.
Yes.
So every Monday through Wednesday, Sean and I, we get together at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have on a guest, normally a jockey, a trainer, somebody in the horse racing business. This Monday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, you can see our schedule over at the Facebook page. We have jockey Alex Berzer. On Tuesday, we have jockey Forrest Boyce. And then on Wednesday, we have jockey agent Marcus Judy. All of those, Terry, start at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to make sure that you're in tune when those come on, and they're usually pretty informative shows. There's a lot of things that I've picked up in terms of handicapping and understanding how things work at the track that I did not know before. So those all start at 8 p.m. Eastern every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with Sean and I. Last race on our card, Terry, is Santa Anita, which is right. Appropriate race for St. Patrick's Day weekend. Yeah. It is the Irish O'Brien Stakes. It is a 6.5 furlong race on the hillside turf, Terry. They've run 14 of these races, 10 of which were won by stalkers and closers, so you want to be from off the pace. Only one of the 14 managed to go wire to wire, and it's a really kind of quirky in terms of the post positions. The 2 and the 3 have outperformed 8+, which has outperformed the rail, which is outperformed 4 through 7. So in other words, you kind of want to not avoid, because there's only been 14 races so far, so it's not a big enough data set to really say that it's an absolute. But it looks to me like you kind of want to be 2 or 3 or 8+. As far as the pace set up for this race, the race shape looks a little like this, Terry. You have the 1 horse, again, not a true front runner in here. So the 1 and the 4 are likely to be Maybe I Will, and the 4 horse are likely to be towards the front, and that's SASSYSERB. And then everybody else kind of wants to press or come from the back. So maybe one of those speed horses can get to the front and steal this one, Terry. Maybe they get the right fractions. On the way out, you have Maybe I Will and BECCA Taylor, who's going to be a huge favorite as the horses that will likely be within the, pressing for the lead, that sort of thing. And then on the way home, BECCA Taylor should be the one that has the best late charge with She's Devoted. And one quick look at the stock chart looks like this, Terry. The 3 horse, actually Pulpit Rider, has hit the peak valley for this. So maybe there might be room in here to beat that 4 to 5 morning line favorite, number 2, BECCA Taylor.
Could be. Yep.
All right. Well, let's see if we think who might have a chance. So number 1, Maybe I Will, has a chance to get to the front, Terry. Shipping in from your favorite track, Golden Gate Fields. Can it make the San Francisco to LA transition successful?
Well, she said she's he's coming in from or I guess these are females, aren't they? She's coming in from Golden Gate Fields after winning 3 out of 8 races there. Try Santa Anita. She can run on top or close from behind, and I think she's probably a little over her head here. She's trying to turf for the first time. I think she's going to go out to the front, but she's going to get caught. So
she's going to get caught and run right on by. So number 2, BECCA Taylor, is the 4 to 5 morning line favorite, ridden by jockey Flavian Pratt, who wins everything there before he leaves for New York soon. Stephen Mirardi is the trainer, making his third start off a layoff. This one did come in from goal. It went to you and won a race, Terry. Now it's coming back to San Francisco. Improved in its first 2 starts, the only other 3-race cycle. The third race was the best of the 3. So this horse looks like, to me, it's aiming for another big race.
Oh, yeah. This horse is a winning machine. Perfect 6 out of 6 starts during her career.
That would have been mine if I was a horse.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, Jockey's been the money 11 out of 19 times and won 5 of those. And, unless something really happens, this horse is just amazing. I bet on it.
Well, I bet,
I bet on it 3 times already. So
you think it's going to be 1 to 5?
Yeah, probably. So it's not somebody.
So
I wouldn't bet it today, but it's going to be 1 to 5.
All right. So next up, the 3-horse Pulpit Rider. This is one that I probably going to sit close to the pace. Have some good late pace coming home. Did run last time out, January 21st at Santa Anita at 1 mile and an eighth. So shortening up in distance, Terry. 15 times at Santa Anita, only 1 win. What are the odds they can make it to?
I don't know. This one has the most experience on the turf of all the starters. She has the highest last race speed rating, actually tied. And she's got best turf speed among today's starters. She's won 20% of her turf starts.
Number 4 is SASSYSERB. It's another one that's likely to be mid-pack or back. Has had some success at Santa Anita. Run there 10 times, finished in the money 7 times, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 3/3. Third start off a layoff. Terry, last time out, unfortunately, though, regressed from beginning to the end of the race and has not made it a 3-race cycle in quite some time. Perhaps Umberto Rispoli can find something new in this horse. It's a jockey switch here.
Yeah, the poor thing hasn't won in over a year. And the jockey in the last 7 days has done pretty well, winning 3 out of 11. But I think this horse has really got over its head here. I don't think that she's going to be even in the mix.
Sensible Cat. This horse has run on this 6.5 furlong hillside turf course in its last 2 races and is 3/4 of a length away from winning both of them. Coming from off the pace, though, it does have some back history of being closer to the front. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sensible Cat is either going to sit right in front of the 2 or is going to sit right behind the 2, depending upon what jockey Juan Hernandez feels like the best opportunity is. But I would expect Sensible Cat to hug Becca Taylor and see if he can outrun her, see if she can outrun her to the gate, to the wire.
Yeah, this horse won its last race at Santa Anita on the turf at today's distance, has a high percentage winning jockey like Santa Anita in the distance. And I think that Sensible Cat is going to sit back a little bit and close and try to catch Becca Taylor. Matter of fact, I think this is the only one that really has the chance to do that.
Well, maybe Eddie's New Dream has a chance too, Terry, because it's making its first start. Take a little bit of time on the bench from January the 15th. But if you look back at the last 2 times the horse made a first start, it finished first, that's last one, Santa Anita on the turf at 1 mile and an eighth. Prior to that, it ran 6 furlongs on the dirt at Santa Anita, finished second by a half a length. Was more forwardly placed than normal coming off the bench. So I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie's New Dream kind of pushes up behind the cheap speed, sees if she can run some favorable fractions, and then try to outrun them with whatever she has left in the tank to the finish line.
Yeah, you can be right there. She did finish third in her last race, and she has the highest last speed rating, tied with the horse above I talked about. And she's won 2 out of 4 starts on the turf, so she does like the turf.
She's Devoted is coming off of a second place finish by a nose. And it showed a little bit change in form last time out, Terry. In its first 5 races, trainer Richard Baltas had the horse closing. Last time out with jockey Joe Bravo, who's back in the irons again for the second consecutive start. They tried something a little bit different. They pushed the horse to the front.
Yeah, they
did. Be interesting to see if they try that strategy again. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Again, this race lacks some early pace, so you might be able to get up to the front. You might be able to steal some cheap fractions. And it looks like She's Devoted got some late legs in there because she has closed in a couple races to get W's.
Yeah, she ran second in her last race, beating only a nose tried to lead all the way and was caught at a mile. And now she shortens up, which should help. The trainer-jockey combination in the last 14 days have been perfect, 3 out of 3.
All right, Terry, for the last time today, who are your picks?
Well, I can't get over BECCA Taylor. So BECCA Taylor, number 2, is my first pick. And then I like Sensible Cat, number 5, is my second pick. Pulpit's Rider, number 3, is my third pick. And I like Eddie's New Dream, number 6, as my fourth pick.
Well, I'm going to start with BECCA Taylor as my top pick, too. It's going to be tough to beat BECCA Taylor. If I were betting in this sequence, though, I would probably, if I'm doing like a part of a pick 3, pick 4, a sequenced race like that, Terry, I would probably put the 5 and 6 because those are my second choices, hoping to catch a break. And so everybody's going to have BECCA Taylor in their vertical bets. And if BECCA Taylor gets beat, that's going to cut so many people. It's going to be a single, I would guess, in half the tickets, if not more.
Yeah.
So my second pick is going to be number 5. That is Sensible Cat. And my third pick is number 6, Eddie's New Dream. And then I'm closing the show with number 7, She's Devoted, expecting the horse on that cut back to do a little bit better. Terry, I saw on the side of your hat there the HRT logo for the Horse Racing Today gear.
Yep.
If you like what you see with Terry's hat there, my hat too, turning the wrong way. I've gotten a lot of compliments so far. I'm glad you turned the right way. But summer's coming. You'll look good in a white number 2, Terry, with the 2 on the backside. Make sure you head on over to horseracingtoday.net. Click on that HRT gear. And right now, if you go ahead and pick anything up to support the show, which we greatly appreciate, for those of you who have already, thank you. We are sincerely appreciative. It's one of the few ways you can support the show besides watching. They have free shipping, so that'll save you a little bit of money.
Yeah.
All right, Terry, that wraps up today's show. Any final thoughts before we get up and out of here on this wonderful Saturday afternoon?
Well, yeah, if you liked what you see, which I'm sure you will, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at Horse Racing, the number 2 day. And then like us at Facebook, give us a thumbs up at Horse Race, the number 2 day, and Instagram at Horse Race, the number 2 day again.
Yes, I want to thank Jim O'Flynn, Israel Villarreal, and Shane French for giving us a thumbs up, for liking us and loving us on Facebook. We appreciate that. When you're watching on YouTube, if you give us a thumbs up, that helps us move up the algorithms. Same goes for Facebook. And if you follow us on Twitter, the more people who follow us that know about us, the higher up we go up the rankings. It's just how their algorithms work. Once again, thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon, morning, depending where you are. We hope you have a fantastic weekend. Terry and I will be back on Monday to go over our picks, probably at Turf Paradise, 12 noon. So make sure you check that out. We're going to introduce a couple of new things on Monday, which we think will be fun. Until then, folks, we hope that all your day, your weekend, your picks, your NCAA brackets, if they're not blown up, all of it, Terry, ends up in J. Marco's
winner circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday.